Hey folks, Dave Trainer here. You know, I show you a lot of pictures of when things are going smoothly. I thought it might be fun to do one when things aren't going as well as we would hope. This particular window, this is a pier and beam house. It was built in the 60s, and the brick facade has moved around quite a bit and is a lot different from what we see on the inside of the house. And just part of that dynamic is my window's perfect right here. It's just basically flush with the brick. But up here, I've got this monster 5/8 inch hole that needs to be sealed. And so I've got to make that look good. Now we've gone ahead and put expanding spray foam back in there to provide some added insulation. Up at the top, I've got about 5/16 of an inch. But there's some out of squareness at work, and like I say, it's couldn't be any bigger because of what I've got going on right here. And if you step back, it's pretty straight with the top. My gap up here is about 5/16, but it's real tight down here at the bottom. So in order to get a good size, what I have to do is I have to go measure brick to brick in 3 different places and then subtract 1/4 of an inch so that I can not tear up the bricks, not have to pull bricks off, still have room to square this up inside the house. So that leaves me with the monster caulking bead that has to be run right up here. And so I thought I'd show you how that dynamic goes. I'll start by just doing the heavy part up here. I've got my OSI quad sealant. When you cut the edge of your sealant, you want it to be at about a 22.5 degree angle. It needs to be rounded at the top so that looks good when you go to run it. But I'm just going to start right here and run this bead. Now here's something interesting about sealant. They tell you not to tool it. I agree in some instances, and in other instances I do not. I generally tool these. I like to put some foaming glass cleaner over them and really get it pressed in where I want it. You can see that I'm running the bead and then I'm having to really get in here. This is the old Mexican brick. We're in Dallas, Texas, and a lot of these houses are built with the old Mexican brick, which is very, very wavy and inconsistent. And you see that in the mortar as well as in the brick itself. The homeowner has painted over it, but Mexican brick is super, super soft. So because this is now 85 years old, this house, some of the bricks have deteriorated and gotten little chunks knocked out of them. And when the customer painted over it, of course, it kind of hides that a little bit, but it still doesn't take away from the inconsistency of the surface. This is definitely not clean, pretty Acme bricks from over in Grand Prairie. This is Mexican brick, and it's soft, it's brittle, it's rugged. Okay, so down here where it was tight, I'm still going to use this same sized caulking bead, but here's what's interesting about that. Depending on what angle I use this at, I'm going to get a different result. So if I start here, and I've really got to get this in behind the window, you'll notice I'm running along. I'm one of the guys who I prefer not to caulk over the accessory groove. The accessory groove is that long skinny thing that you see there. I prefer not to get caulk into that if I can avoid it. You'll notice right now where it's super thin, I'm going to just twist this, have it out on the brick just a little bit more, on my window a little bit less, and then keep it going up. Once again, fill that big hole by the mortar. All right, now, like I say, my manufacturer, OSI, they recommend that you do not tool, but I just don't see how I would make this look really good unless I did. So Here's how I tool it. I just sprayed it with a little foaming glass cleaner. It's called Sprayway. It's available at Home Depot and Lowe's. And I'm just going to lightly press it in. And the reason they don't want people to drag their finger through it is because most people are going to drag their finger through it, get it all over their finger, and kind of make a mess out of it. Plus, it's more likely to have problems. Now, my technique, I'm making sure that it's really in there, really on the brick, really on the window. I'm definitely making sure that it's, look down here, this massive hole I've got. And by doing it this way, now right here, it is getting up into my groove. So we're gonna address that here in just a second. But you'll notice that I'm getting it, all the little bumps and waves and miserable inconsistencies out of the way with my tooling technique. And now I'm going to take a little wood shim shingle and I'm just going to run it right through this accessory groove. That way my window, you can see the squareness of my window. My window looks good. It doesn't really turn too rugged until we're over by the Mexican brick. Once I've cleaned that groove out a bit, I can retool. And in this case, probably need to rerun my shim again to get that groove. I just want that groove to be nice and cleaned out because that makes my window look good. And I did not sell them the Mexican brick, I sold them the window, so I want the window to look great. So this is a little bit of the technique that I use. And again, you can kind of see from the outside that we've now got something pretty consistent, smooth, looks good. My 1/8 inch gap here still looks good. My 5/8 of an inch gap up here looks good. And the world is not a perfect place. Houses are not perfect. And so you've got to learn to just deal with what the house is giving you. And this is an example of how you do that and come up with some really pretty work. Hope you're having a great day. I know I am.